My name's Tommy Hench. I've been fighting on and off since about 14 years of age. I've done a lot of dramatic things in boxing, and I decided to stop doing it at one point because I was doing a lot of travelling and enjoying my life. And basically, at one point, I walked into a young lad named Jordan at the gym, and he got kicked out of his gym, and the trainers had accused him of being too sure of himself because he was dropping his hands and having a particular style that didn't fit the traditional way. And I could relate to that a lot. Good-looking, handsome young man, smart. Everybody loved him, and I know a lot of people say that about people in the past, but this genuinely was the case with this lad. So I offered to do some training with him for the Saturday. But basically, we went apart. The following day, I saw him at the gym, and I was doing a set of shoulders, and I decided to not ask him for his number because I thought, I'll see him tomorrow. Don't worry, I'll see him tomorrow. But that's life when you take it for granted. You think tomorrow is going to be there, but it never was. So it didn't really sink in at that point for me, but I wasn't fighting at that point, and I had all the intention of helping him, and he's gone. So me with my lifestyle at the time, I was very reckless. I was drinking, I was smoking, I was doing I was intoxicating myself to stupid amounts, and I had a bit of an epiphany that I can't help him, but I wanted to. So what other way could I help? I can only help the ones, by leaving an example, because I realised that not a lot of people out there can actually hold their temper, and that once somebody says something to them, that they have to escalate things to a point where, these acts that happen, they're like a permanent act for a temporary problem.
Fuck anyone says here, he's only 18 years of age, yeah? 18 years of age, he's a fucking baby, and he's gone. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking wrong.
These are all the problems you have as a youth. They go away when you get older. All the little the bickering between your friends and things that people said and things that people done. They're so far distant in the past, but you never got to get to that point. So while I'm sitting there, intoxicating myself and wasting my life, I'm sitting there thinking, I've managed to go around the world, I've managed to see people, I've managed to do these things. He barely only started to get laid out after 10 o'clock, at his age, 18. And that to me, I wasn't comfortable with throwing my life away at that point. So I decided to stop and set an example of knives down, gloves up. Because I'd heard of gloves up, knives down, but to me, what made sense is that you need to put the knives down first and then put the gloves up. Because a lot of people say that people shouldn't be fighting at all, but I don't believe in that, because I think that sometimes frustrations between friends can get so built up that there has to be an outlet, and I don't think everything has to be diplomatic, but I think in a controlled violence or in a controlled manner, under the Longdale rules, which are probably the best, the most noble sport in the world, which is boxing. Your hands are protected by the gloves. Both men have a classy fight. You get to display all aspects of fighting, not just who's tougher, who's smarter, who's faster, who's quicker. There's so many elements to it, and it's such a beautiful sport. And I've always found, with some of my friends, having a good dispute, having a fight after, you actually become closer. You actually bond with a lot of opponents. I tend to have a bond with them because you experience such truth in there. It's all honesty in there. There's no lies. I mean, football is a game. Yeah, nobody gets hurt, but boxing isn't a game. It's all truth, and that's why when you have two men that get together and there's no lies in that ring, and that's why I feel like two men can come together without being gay or nothing like that. Do you know what I mean? And I know a lot of young lads might find that hilarious, but it isn't. When you mature and you get older and you learn about life, you'll realise that. And I think that you can't be a good fighter. There's no, all good fighters are great people. So I started Nice Down Gloves Up, and it seems to have echoed quite large, and it's kind of gone quite around, and I'm really happy that other people are saying it, and I'm really happy that people are aware of it, and we all agree, because when I look at Jordan's picture, when I look at his face, I don't see his face no more. I try to imagine my own son, and I don't just try and imagine my son who that happened to. I also try to imagine the grieving family. Now, imagine, right, bringing up your child for 18 years, not one, not two, no, 18 years. You bring up your child, you deal with their ups and their downs, their hungers, their misunderstandings, their teachings. Do you know, going through all that, I can't even imagine, because my son isn't even at that age yet, hasn't even made teens. But to imagine how much that loss is, it's unbearable. You know, life in prison for the offenders, it isn't enough. And lads need to think about not throwing away your life, because even taking a life, and at that moment when you lose your moment and your anger and you do something, you end up paying for it for the rest of your life. And there's nothing cool about sitting in a cold jail. There's nothing cool about losing all your friends and family and spending the one life that we have behind walls. It makes no sense whatsoever. So you might say, oh, man's a pussy, or man ain't got no balls, tear. But real balls is getting in there in front of everybody, in front of all your friends and family, bringing everybody together, yeah, and all displaying who is the real man. Not who's got the biggest gun, not who's got the biggest weapon, not who's willing to sit in jail for the rest of life. That doesn't take a man. It takes a man to get up every day and raise a family. That's what takes a man. And it also takes a man to get in there and to give it your all. And I tell you what, if you do it, you'll grow as a person. Because when I first started fighting, you know, I had a mentality where if I couldn't, you know, if losing wasn't enough, I'd have to always get that one up on somebody. But if you are beaten by a better man in a fair rule set, there was only growth from that. There's only things to learn from that. There was no such thing as a loss. So all you guys that think it's a shame if you go in there and you give it your all and you come up short, the people that do turn their back on you are the people that you don't want anyway. Yeah, the people that do understand are the people that you're looking for, the good people, and good people will always look a little deeper than you'll win or loss, and see if you put 100% into it, it'll be reciprocated. So that's one of the messages that I wanted to put out there. This is why I do Nice Down Gloves Up. This is why that it's all the people that I'm in line with. I fully agree with it, because we've all had somebody that we've lost through knife crime. You know, I lost a friend named Jerry when I was younger. I didn't realise how long I'd been actually battling this problem, the youth on the streets with their egos and their weapons and their misguidance. I do put a lot of pressure onto the families and the parents to make sure that you understand your children, that if they are a threat to somebody, or they have sort of behavioural problems, or they have these sorts of tendencies, that you immediately get them sorted and you take responsibility, because you're a parent. That's what parenting is about. You making decisions for your children until they're able to make their own decisions, regardless of their age. Some people can make their own decisions at 16. Some people can make their own decisions at 25. It depends on how well that person's raised, or their learning capabilities. But I definitely stress the parents to be more aware and take more responsibility, and don't just say, I can't control my child, or I can't do this, I can't do that. Because if your child goes out there and hurts another child, I feel that you should take responsibility for that, and not be putting pressure on the police to be stopping searching people. It's for the community to look after the community. It's for us to set an example. It's not for us to start having a go at the police to do, because when they start searching these kids, you start telling them, oh, they're harassing my child, so they can't win. If they don't search them, it's a problem. If they do search them, it's a problem. So what do I say? The community, that I'm putting the pressure on you and the parents, okay? Nice down, gloves up. That's about all I've got to say.